other interesting business news, you have the new Aston Martin SUV getting some upgrades, but still disappointingly having no third pedal, also known as a manual transmission, which again is very disappointing, but it's kind of the norm for most SUVs. I think the last exciting SUV ever produced was, what was it, the 2009 Porsche Cayenne GTS, which was a V8 stick shift in an SUV, which in off-roading, it was a really cool thing. And I think it's such a beautiful piece of engineering. It's the reason why if you find them, I think they imported 290, they're like 50 plus $1,000, even with 120,000 miles on the odometer. So yeah, the odds of finding one aren't great, but if I ever had to get an SUV, I would definitely go that route. Now, this is article brought to us thanks to Chris at thedrive.com. And he says, quote, the 2026 Aston Martin DBX S is a 717 horsepower SUV with a hot hatch styling and turbos from Valhalla. They say, quote, with huge magnesium wheels, a carbon roof, supercharger turbo tech, and vertically stacked exhaust tips, the DBX S is the most extreme DBX yet, which it actually looks pretty cool, though the grille is larger than a GM Ford truck or one of those trucks' grills, which is to say comically large. Now, they say, quote, there's a new Aston Martin SUV variant, and it's the most powerful one yet, using an enhanced version of the same AMG-powered 4-liter twin-turbo V8, which, is anyone else disappointed it's not a V12? I know Aston Martin has a long history of using V8s as well, but I don't know, to me that would have made it even more iconic, but that's just me. Now they say, quote, the DBX S makes 717 horsepower, 664 foot-pounds of torque. The power bump comes courtesy of the turbo tech borrowed directly from the upcoming Valhalla supercar. This consists of a bigger compressor wheel and other internal improvements that deliver more push to the top of the rev range. The new Top Dog DBX continues to use a 9-speed wet clutch automatic transmission. Boring. But shift points in auto mode are tweaked to better suit the extended rev range, while downshifts in Sport and Sport Plus modes have been made more aggressive, which, let's pull up a couple more pictures here. It looks very modern. Kind of boring from the side, but I kind of think that's most SUVs. They seem to all share many of the same lines. Now, they say, quote, on paper, though, performance figures are drastically different than the 707. In fact, this car's 3.10 to 60 second out of time, wow, geez Louise, and 193 mile per hour top speed is unchanged from the DBX. Well, that's not very, you pay for the top trim line, and it's still the same specs, which pretty disappointing, but still kind of cool that an SUV will hit 193 miles per hour, which I was about to say, where would you use that? Let's be honest, Texas and other awesome places, maybe Wyoming. Now they say, quote, lightweight options can make the S almost 104 pounds lighter than the 707, a car which, to be clear, will still be offered. The optional 26-inch magnesium wheels are apparently the world's first for any production SUV and cut almost 42 pounds of unsprung weight, which, yeah, unsprung weight, yeah, that type of effect is dramatically different. It's great for performance. That's why all those top supercars have the carbon fiber and the really high-end actual rims. I mean, I think most famously, the Ford GT was the first quote-unquote mass production, or, not one-off that came standard with carbon fiber rims. Yeah, the sprung weight is the thing you think about, everything that goes on top of basically the axles and wheels and everything. The unsprung is actual things that, the rotational weight, so the rims. Now, that is pretty impressive. Now they say it'll be improving the ride quality. Steering 23-inch forged aluminum wheels are standard. A single weave carbon fiber roof is the largest carbon fiber part of any kind put into any Aston Martin and cuts down 40 pounds from the highest point of the vehicle, which is even better. There's even an optimal front grille made of lightweight polycarbonate that surely shaves off many grams, which, yeah. Let's get some better pictures in here. There you can see it being driven excitedly in the mountains, which, sadly enough, I can't help but think 1% of these sporty vehicles actually go out there and are really used the way they're engineered to be. I feel like most of them are pavement queens, but Then disappointingly, you see the interior, which is, as usual, disappointing, especially because you see that anemic, boring shift selector, which is automatic. Now they say the DBX S gets a steering ratio that's 4% quicker, not only making it more responsive to speed, but also cutting the turning circle by 1.6 feet. Modified exhaust with vertical stacked quad tips apparently make the V8 sound even better. The most notable upgrades seen in the S, however, may just be cosmetic. Aston has graced its SUV with uncharacteristically Google-ish and almost hot hatch-looking incorporated red trim taken straight out of the Honda Type R and Hyundai N playbooks, as well as 23-inch wheels sporting a design that wouldn't look out of place, say, on a GTI Golf, which, yeah, I guess I could kind of see that. with all that aero and those exhaust tips, which they actually don't look that great. And yeah, it almost looks like the Gen 10 Honda Civic Type R that went way overboard when it comes to aero. It's almost as if they took a AutoZone accessory aisle and glued everything onto the car, albeit with nice, probably 3M adhesive tape. Don't get me wrong. I have yet to have a Honda Civic owner hear of stuff falling off yet. But yeah, it looks a little too much to say. Let's say inside the DBSX gets the Alcantara and leather surfaces with a neat, what is this, herringbone pattern on the seats. The Aston Martin logos have apparently been embossed and debossed into the headrest with, they claim, 1.6 tons of pressure in what the company says is an industry first technique. Really? And yet I don't think a single person I know would care. I'm looking at the headrest right now. I mean, that's great, but is also no different than, well, I have a debossed leather coaster for my tech company and my swag shelf to the left of me. And yeah, you make an image on metal and then you push it into leather and it makes shape. In this case, it took 1.6 tons of pressure, which I guess that is so much it maybe is industry first. Of all the things to brag about, that is the most unusual thing I've heard a car company bragging about. But yeah, kind of interesting. We'll see if this thing sells. Aston Martin desperately needs more SUV sales. It's kind of sad to think that these iconic car companies, in terms of their business, viability, they need SUVs and crossovers for the, additional revenue as everyone buys them, or seemingly more and more people buy them, with being one of the biggest categories that consumers are fleeing to in the United States. That's why even Porsche makes, well, kind of sad, but a majority of their volume of units do come from their SUVs. But again, that helps stabilize the companies in Aston Martin. Their finances and their company stability is about as stable as U.S. government. They lose a lot of money. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say today. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.